Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program. This is Africa Online Media Corporation, and we have our beautiful sisters here, Sister Sylvia and Sister Solange, who is our tax expert. Reverend Solange is going to be answering all your tax questions today. So inbox us, Zoom in, dial in, the Zoom coordinates on our Facebook page. Reverend Solange, you are welcome. So, Sister Sylvia, by the way, our anchor, Mr. Asonglefac Nkemleke, is not able to make it today. So the editorials, you will not hear it, but we're going to publish it on our website. Mr. Asonglefac Nkemleke, we miss you. So, Sister Sylvia, I'm going to have you pose the first tax question to our tax expert.
Hey, Reverend, how are you? And welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Reverence. I know I'm a blessed person to be on this show with two women of God.
We thank God for that. I hope by the grace of God, I'm going to be able to answer the tax questions to the best of my ability with the knowledge of tax that I have for over 27 years. And it's an ongoing learning process like every profession. Sometimes there's some changes, there's some updates, there's some upgrades and all that. But the concept stays the same.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that by the grace of God, I'm going to be able to answer again to the best of my ability.
Before we start, so that our viewers know who they're talking to and where you are talking to us from, in case people need to get in touch with you. You may get some new clients for yourself today after this show.
Praise God.
So it would be to our advantage as a show as well for you to introduce yourself formally, as well as in what state or area you're
Exactly.
Yeah, my name is Solange Gabis. It depends on what cap or what hat I'm wearing. I'm a certified accountant, a tax specialist. I'm also an ordained minister of the gospel, a motivational speaker, and I'm a mother. And best of all, I'm the daughter of the Most High God.
Amen.
And
where are you based out of?
I am in Houston, Texas.
God, great.
Here for, as I said, 27 years.
Excellent. So at the end of the show, I believe we'll give you a chance maybe to share your phone number with our viewers and or email in case that you have some new viewers or some people that will need a text. You might even be hearing from me myself too.
Okay, let's get it on.
Right. Well, thank you. So welcome to the show. My first question to you is this. For these people who have big deals that do big deals out of the United States, let's say somebody closes $1 billion or $2 billion deal out of the United States and they want their money to come into the United States. What's the best way for them to do it so that they're in compliance with the tax codes of the United States?
Okay, that's what we call income earned from overseas. And it all depends if you're a business person or if you're working for a company that's based overseas. There's a form called Form 2550. I'm not going to go into the numbers of the form because that may confuse people. I'll just say there are some internal revenue forms that you can fill if you're an American citizen, you have a business abroad or you're working abroad and you want to pay taxes in the United States. You have to declare that income and complete that form and file with the Internal Revenue Service. Usually, a lot of people are trying to avoid what we call double taxation because sometimes the businesses, the countries where these businesses are located, tax them. And they also get taxed in the United States. So if you've been paying tax as a corporation, a United States citizen with business abroad, and you're paying taxes in that foreign country, you can fill out certain forms and claim those taxes back from years. You can get those taxes back, especially if you pay taxes in the United States based on the income that you made abroad. You cannot be taxed twice. A lot of times people don't know that. They are in the foreign country, they have their own tax rules, laws, policies, regulations, and you name it. And as a citizen of the United States, you cannot just go for 2-3 years without paying tax. I mean, then you're missing in action. You have to declare taxes one way or another. So you bring that income in, most likely the profit, because you're paying employees, you're paying, you have some expenses.
Yes, you
So
do.
you're not bringing the whole amount of money back into the United States, but you're going to pay taxes on what you bring into the United States.
So is there a threshold? Is there a minimum that you can bring into the United States that will not cause you to be heavily taxed?
No, like every tax matter, whatever you bring into the United States, that's taxable income is going to be taxed. They used to say you could bring in up to 9,999 and all that, but that's in a different arena. But once you bring in money from overseas, sometimes, like if you're an employee, let me explain this. They count the number of days that you were in and out of the United States. And if those number of days exceed the threshold of the number of days that's allowed, they're going to tax you because they're going to consider you as being here and not working overseas. There are some countries that have what we call tax-free income for United States citizens, which means that the income you make over there is not taxable.
True. Yes. Now, what if one is just being paid a commission? Because some of the entrepreneurs that we have in the United States, Canada, and all over, I guess Europe, most of us derive our income from overseas, notably, like say Africa. Now, you close a deal, you make some money. The money has to come to the United States in one excuse me, in one form or another. That also will be declared as taxable income because it's a commission that has been paid to one?
Yes, it will be declared as taxable income because you're a United States citizen bringing in money from overseas based on the business that was transacted overseas. Most likely this income is going to come through your bank account.
Yes.
Or whichever means. You cannot just be putting money into an account without, the bank actually will be like, okay, where is this money coming from? And you know right now, I mean, like every country, we want to avoid what we call money laundering.
Yes.
You don't want to be bringing in money from an unknown source. Where is this money coming from? And if you're working or doing business, then what part or portion of this money is taxable? So now you have to look for a tax accountant to be able to figure that out for you. What portion of that money is taxable, but you're still going to pay tax on that money.
So when we're dealing with taxes in the United States, we know the regular tax people that we've been working with for the past 10, 15, 20, whatever years. Now, the situation that I just alluded to where somebody gets fortunate and, they bring in that taxable income from the United States, out of the United States. Is there a way to know what type of an accountant or tax preparer that you're looking for? If that incident happened, what would this individual or individuals or business be looking for? What type of an accountant does one have to ask for or seek out?
Accounting, like every profession, has specialty. Like in the medical field, somebody might say I'm a medical doctor, but I'm a surgeon, I'm an astrologer, I'm a family, that. Same with accounting, you have different aspects of it. You have tax, there are people that are tax experts. They specialize in taxation like me. That's the area I chose. A bit complicated, but I love it because most of the time I crunch the figures. You have auditors, you have internal control, you have all those things. So what you'll be looking for will be an experienced accountant. Actually, you can ask them, like, okay, have you ever worked on something like this before? Ask them if they have any experience dealing with foreign employees or with United States citizens that are bringing money from abroad. You want to know, and you want to know how they went about it. So based on that information, that's a good reference point that you can decide and say, okay, I'm going to use this person to help me out here. And like most professions, you can meet an accountant. The accountant might be a very good accountant, but there's always some challenges like everything. And they'll go into the reference library. They might call a colleague or two and ask them questions because no one knows it all, you see. But you have to talk to an accountant that you feel confident that this person can really help you.
That too would be quite stressful on an individual. Like say, for example, myself. I'm not too well versed with taxes. I know I pay taxes and how they come about, I really don't care to know. I send it in. That's what they have to do. And if I owe, yes, if they owe me, I get my money back. So how would I feel comfortable knowing what questions to ask? Because asking an accountant and just saying, listen, I have $2 million coming in about, let's say, 3 weeks time. I've never done this business before. I don't know how I'm going to do and file these taxes. When anybody hears $2 million, everybody will make themselves believe they're educated enough to assist you, and they'll be giving you this and that information. Oh, I've heard this and I've heard that. So how do I know? I know it's a wide ocean out there, just throwing in a pebble and making ripples. But I need to be able to be comfortable. I'm asking you these questions because I do have a person that posed these questions to me a few weeks ago. So this is why I was so excited when Reverend someone who told me that you were coming on as a tax expert.
Yeah.
That's I probed this person with as much information as I could get out of him, so that when I talk to you, I'm asking you intelligent questions. So on that question, how do I get the comfort zone to say? You say the internet is there, and sometimes when you go on there, we embellish our resumes, we embellish our experiences.
Oh, sure.
Understand? So if I go on the not the resume, what's it called? The internet.
Online.
Yes,
Google,
if I go online right now, okay, for example, I'll type in international preparer for taxes, right? Or tax preparers. Tax preparers will give me 2,000, 5,000 million people that are out there. That's an ocean, my sister.
Yeah.
And now narrow it down to international transactions. Okay, that's another smaller ocean. The bigger ocean has gotten into a little smaller ocean now. Still, I'm swimming in that ocean. How do I know which one to pick? Because I don't know. I've never done this before.
No, the best way to do it would be get references. Talk to someone that has worked. Ask that accountant to give you a reference.
As an accountant.
Ask the accountant that, have you done this before? Say yes. Can I talk to that person without breaching any ethical rules of confidentiality? Because as an accountant, we have ethics to follow. You cannot disclose another person's information to another person. But you can say, you know what, I worked with so-and-so company without divulging any privacy or anything like that, that you can call them and talk to them. So that's a point of reference. Always ask them for references, because just going online will not really help you much.
Thank you so very much. We have a listener online right now. Listener, caller, can you please come online, state your name, where you're calling from, and if you have a question, please feel free to ask your question.
They need to unmute their phones.
Can you, callers, can you please unmute your phones so that we hear you?
Okay, they just did. Oh, the mute. Your phone is muted again.
Can you unmute your phone, please? Caller or callers, can you unmute your phones, please?
By pressing *6, so we can hear you.
Press *6 to unmute your phone.
Okay, while we are waiting for this caller to unmute their phone and ask their questions, Sister Sylvia, may I just jump in here for a second? Reverend Solange, thank you so much. This is my thing. It's tax season. It's coming. December, end of December, people get their. But I think it's by January 31st, you're supposed to issue 1099s and W2. Okay. Yes. Some of us don't know the genesis or the revelation of tax filing taxes. And we don't even know if we are paying too much money or not paying enough taxes. What advice do you have? One, for the independent contractors, and two, for the employees on how to save money and the things that they can write off?
Okay, this is as wide as it can get. For employees, it's a little bit narrow. As an employee, when you get hired by a company, they'll give you a form, W-4. And I'm sure most people that have had a job or something like that have been asked to fill that form. And that form, what you do on that form is you state the number of exemptions that you want them to take into consideration when calculating your taxable income, your federal withholding, let me put it that way. So based on the number of exemptions on your W-4, they're going to say, okay, we're going to withhold $100 from $1,000 that you're making. And then there's also another deduction that has nothing to do with income tax till you retire, or you have to do Medicare and Medicaid, and that is the Medicare deduction and the Social Security, which for the longest time has been total of 0.07.65 of your taxable income. So 1.45, is the Medicare, and the 6.0 is Social Security. So based on the exemptions on your W-4, your employee will calculate how much from your weekly or monthly income. Okay, go ahead. I thought someone wanted to say something.
Let me ask you this. This is a very good question, Reverend Feminine. Like she said, on the W-4, when we're filling that in, is it, let's say, for example, I have 6 dependents and I want to maximize on my deduction so that they take out more than what I owe, so I don't owe at the end of the year. Is it advisable to put the number 6, or should I put the number 0 so that I know that no matter what happens, I will never owe them any money?
I always advise people to not put too many dependents on your W-4, because at the end of the year, you may end up owing instead of getting a refund back. Because when you put dependents on your W-4, they're going to withhold very little on your federal withholding. And then at the end of the year, you may find out that you did not pay enough taxes. And what happens? You're owing IRS. And many people don't want to owe. A lot of us are looking forward to getting that refund check, because people have plans with the refund check. So the best thing, let's say you have 6 dependents. I always tell people, put 3. Sometimes if you just have 2, I say put 0. Because at the end of the year, if you get a refund, it's like savings. Then that money comes in handy. So I always tell people, do not load your W-4 with all these dependents, because it may not help you at the end of the year.
That's beautiful. Okay, excellent. I like that answer, because a lot of times people or ourselves will ask ourselves, why do I owe when I've put 6 dependents, and I do have 6 dependents, but yet it's not making sense for me to put 0. How can I put 0 when I actually have 6 people that I'm taking care of in my house? Stuff like that.
It's always to the taxpayer's advantage to put less dependence on their W-4, because sometimes midstream the tax rules could change, and you find out that just like the past year, I mean, the tax laws changed. They said after maybe 30-something years, then I was not even in this country. But the new administration came and they changed things. And a lot of people found themselves really wanting and not knowing what. There was so much confusion. And then you realize that you could have 10 dependents, it wouldn't help you, because they had a fixed amount for married filing joint, for single, or for what we call head of household. And sometimes people get confused that, oh, I'm head of my household, and that. No, to be head of household. Anyway, I'm jumping the gun. You have to have a dependent and all that. Maybe we'll get to that question. But people got confused because why during the year they had put all these dependents on their W-4, only to find out in January or February or March, April, that it didn't, it doesn't matter how many dependents you had on your W-4, you were just going to get one standard deduction, regardless. So it's always good to put less.
A lot of people don't know that. I don't think so. Anyway, to our listener, your phone is muted. I am sure you have a question or you want to chime in. Please press *6 and unmute your phone if you want to speak. But just a follow-up question before I hand back over to Sister Sylvia. Okay, for employers,
okay,
what is the tax advantage of employers, especially small business owners? Should we hire people as 1099 or as W-2? And what are the reasons, the benefit or the advantages or the disadvantages, please?
There's just a fine line between that. There's some, like there's a regulation after. There's some companies that you must have people on your payroll. After a certain amount of earning, they have to have a W-2. But on the other hand, they also give you this freedom where you can put all your employees on 1099. We have that a lot, like say in the medical field, consulting, commission fields, and all that. At the end of the year, they give their employees a 1099, which means they're independent contractors. The employer is not responsible to pay your the Social Security or the federal withholding, so you take care of your taxes completely. So it relieves the employer of having to file what we call Form 940 and Form 941 every month or every quarter or whatever to pay their part of the taxes withheld or your Social Security. So that could be an advantage in the sense that less work for the employer. But some people really want to have a W-2 because then they don't have to worry about the taxes. As an employee, I would prefer to have a W-2 So at the end
Okay.
of the year, okay, I know I've
I have
paid
a
some
question.
taxes. And
Yeah,
there are also some tax
somebody has a
credits.
question. Yeah, our caller has this question, and then somebody has a television that is loud. Caller, go
I
ahead.
know. Just
Can
hold
you
on.
Yeah, my name is Felix Anoma. I have a question. I have a concern though.
I may have to move from where I am because I have, just 1 second.
Okay, go ahead and move.
Okay, Brother
All
Felix,
right.
welcome to the show. Go ahead with
Hold
your
on, caller.
When you
on, caller.
classify your employees at 1099, there's also a liability because now that they are independent contractors, if you get audited, you have to show the difference between an employee versus a contractor. That can get you into trouble.
Exactly.
Very
So what I advise companies, big companies, I have a lot of independent contractors. I tell them, go tell your contractors to register their business. Like in Houston, Texas, where I live, I always direct them. I say, go to Clay Road, go to Chimney Rock. For those that are in Houston, that's where we have the county court. Go there and get a DBA to show that you're an independent contractor, you have some sort of business. So that when your employer or whoever hired you to do that work is paying you, they pay you in the name of that company, your name of your business, and assume name. That's really cheap. Instead of paying $300 to the Secretary of State, to get an assumed name in the county court is only about $16 or $25. So I said, go get one. So you can always prove both to whoever is hiring you and to the government that you're an independent contractor. You see, because sometimes they will want you to pay them as a W-2 employee if you cannot really provide them with evidence that you're definitely an independent contractor.
See, that's exactly the point, though. That's how the government is going to get you. To prove that somebody is an independent contractor or an employee, that's how you get yourself in trouble. Just because you don't want to pay taxes for somebody as an employer, you classify them. That misclassification gets you into trouble.
No, it gets you. That's what I'm saying, that advise employer of labor that tell your independent contractors to show you something from the county court stating that they're an independent contractor in this field. And I always tell them that you should go a step further to go.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you a scenario. Let me give you a scenario. If I own a group home, for example, right? Yes. I have nurses who work for me. I have LPNs. I have registered nurses who work for me. Sometimes it's difficult when you call them contractors, when you set their schedules. You give them instructions on how to do their work. Mm-hmm. You require them to do certifications and all that. When you misclassify them, it's all about how do you define somebody as an employee versus a contractor. That's how the government gets you. So it might not be, you might think that you're trying to have a tax shelter per se, but that gets you into trouble when you're trying to misclassify them in terms of their responsibility and their job duties and their independence working for you as a company.
Yeah, and that's why I always advise employers to classify their workers properly. Are they W-2 workers? I also own a payroll company. And I tell the employers, are they independent contractors? Do they have business? Are they, you can still, Mr. Felix, right? If I got the name
Mr. Anoma, yes. Felix Anoma.
Mr. Anoma, you can still set the schedules for your contract. It's a contract agreement. You draw an agreement with them. I've seen so many of such agreement with medical staffing agencies. They have a contract, and the contract says, we'll call you when we have availability. This is the term of the contract, da, 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 da. It does not mean they are your employees, but you still can set their schedules and draw up a contract with them, and they follow the terms of the contract, and they're still independent contractors at the same time. But where the government will get you, you have to make sure you're definitely an independent contractor. That's how you're operating. And the company will have that on file. They'll have your DBA on file or your incorporation on file, and to an extent, EIN for that company. So when they
you have to create an EIN number that makes you become a company of your own.
Pardon? I didn't hear you.
He says you get an EIN number, which makes you an independent company of your own.
Yes.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you that you need to get an EIN number.
Yes, you get an
EIN. You a corporation.
Definitely. Even as an assumed name, you can still get an EIN with a DBA. You can go ahead and get an EIN so they can pay you using that EIN instead of your social security number. That is good enough for the Internal Revenue Service to know that you have a business. That is good enough.
May I just have one follow-up question, then I'll hand back over to our uncle Sister Sylvia. You know, can you advise us independent contractors or self-employed people?
Reverend, somebody needs to mute their phone. There's background.
Yeah, can I take like I need to, maybe some of the noise is coming from my end here. I need like a minute or two to mute certain things around me.
Okay, all right.
Just got visitors.
Okay, while she's muting, yeah, unfortunately, our chief executive editor put a typo on the forum, and he's not available to delete it from everybody. So some people that were gonna dial into the show probably think the show is not on, but it's on. But Felix, if you can help us and text them and let them know you're on the show and our tax expert is on, because our people really are very ignorant about taxes, and this is a very important topic for them. You know, for them to learn. You know I am learning a lot. So
me too.
Reverend Solange, if you are back, I know your phone is muted. Can you unmute your phone?
She said give her a second, she'll be back.
Okay, no, I can see her. But anyway, while we are waiting for her to come back, the questions that I want to ask are the things that we can deduct, you know, from our taxes. And my accountant told me there's a maximum that there are two questions. One, the maximum deductions, things that self-employed employed people, independent contractors can deduct to reduce the amount of taxes. The second is what is the maximum deduction for charity? Because my accountant drills this on me every year. He said, all these monies you are giving to charity, you cannot write them off, you know. So when our tax expert comes back, we want to hear from her. So Sister Sylvia, I'm going to hand back over to you when she comes in. I hope she heard my question or not.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Reverend. Yes, as a matter of fact, all those questions you asked, I also have the same. And I also wanted to know about this filing as head of household. Now, does her filing head of household mean the person that makes the most money in the house, your husband and wife, and I'm making 80,000 and my husband is making 50,000? Do I file head of household, or who does that? I'm a single mom, or I'm a single dad, I'm a single parent, single individual with 3, 4, 5 kids, but I have a living roommate. Do I still file as a head of household, being who I am, because I do have a dependent or dependents that are with me? I would also like to, ask those questions. But as you rightly said, Reverend, a lot of us are very ignorant about taxes. As soon as we opened this show, I alluded to myself as well. I'm very ignorant where that's concerned, because all I do is provide the documents that the tax man wants. Once he tells me I'm set, I'm good to go. Do I owe, or do they owe me? When I owe,
I'm back. I think I've succeeded in quieting the noise.
Absolutely.
Great.
Go ahead, Reverend Pam. You can start with your question.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if you heard my question, but I had a couple of questions. The first one was, what are the things that independent contractors and self-employed people like myself can deduct to reduce the amount of taxes we pay? That's maximum deductions. That's one. Number two, there is supposedly a limit on how much you can deduct for charitable donations. My accountant has been drilling this, fighting with me every single year. All these monies you're giving to charity, you cannot get them back. You can't write all this off. So if you can kindly address those two, and if there are other ways that self-employed people or independent contractors can deduct more items to get the most returns.
Okay, let me take it one at a time. And this is actually based on the United States taxes. I know there are other people online that are in other countries, and what we're discussing now really does not affect them or concern them much. So this is based on your, okay, let's talk about deductions as self-employed or independent contractor. It depends on your profession. Are you an independent plumber, electrician, a retailer? It all depends. So there's no one size fit all as far as deduction goes.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Yes, there's no one size fit all. And I could be in this profession and I have some expenses that I must deduct. Like people that wear uniform to work, they can deduct uniform. But if I'm not in that profession, I cannot go ahead and be deducting uniforms. So, and that's why I say it's not one size fit all. So it all depends. All I'm advising is keep your receipts. Take it to your accountant. Your accountant will be able to tell you what items are deductible depending on your profession. You cannot say meals and entertainment when you're a plumber. Who are you entertaining? In real estate agents. Yeah, I'm just giving that example. Yeah, real estate agents have a lot of that. As I say, I have thousands of clients. I've done this for 27 years. Real estate agents have a lot of that because they take out their clients that want to buy or sell their homes, people that work on commissions. They have a lot of meals and entertainment. But if you're an electrician that goes from house to house, you have your registered business. Who are you entertaining? So you cannot go and be claiming such expenses. The IRS will definitely ask questions. So it depends. Just keep your receipts and let your accountant help you with that.
And that's another problem, those receipts. I don't keep my receipts, you know.
What you should do, let me tell you what I've been advising people to do recently. Thank God to the age of electronics.
Yeah.
When you have some of these receipts that do fade out so fast, like when people buy things from Home Depot or wherever, you keep that receipt with the ink fades out. Take a picture of it. Create a folder on your iPhone or iPad or your computer. And that folder, once you take a picture of your receipts, send them to that folder. At the end of the year, you can go ahead and add all of it. And some people actually classify the receipts before taking it to the accountant, so you will not lose the receipts.
That is true. Even scanning, these phones these days
scan too.
They have scanners, so it's easy for you to either scan or take a picture. On the scanning, it's even easier for you to file because it asks you where you want to send it to. And then email it to yourself or create a folder like you said on your desktop. And when end of the month, the end of the month comes, ship the file out to the accountant.
To the accountant.
Yes.
There's an app called TurboScan. TurboScan. You can use TurboScan on your phone and scan your receipts.
Yes, I'm familiar with that one. Yes.
Okay. So the second question.
Okay.
About the charitable donation, the max.
The 501c3.
Charity donations, that's always a tricky area. The max you can deduct as per IRS publication 526. I said I wasn't going to be quoting publications and forms on the line, but
no, you should put it.
Sometimes it's second nature. The limit is like 60% of what we call adjustable gross income. When you exceed 60% of your income as charity deductions, now the government, the IRS will want to know, are you just working for charity? I mean, even that 60% is stretching it. You don't want to go to that max.
Some of us are.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I've seen that. I know people that, for one reason or the other, have some covenant with their churches or ministry that they're going to give 60-70% of their income to charity.
Covenant with the Lord, with God.
With God. So what happens is the IRS limits it to 60% of your adjustable gross income. I always tell people,
please explain that adjustable gross income, because I'm very interested in this part of it.
Yes, adjustable gross income, we call it AGI for short. So you limit to 60% of your adjustable gross income to be on the safe side. Even then, if you keep doing it every year, the IRS may start to ask questions. The best thing I always tell people, 10% is good, 20 is good, but if you have your receipts, and some people donate in goods and services, they give out cars at the end of the year. They empty their closets. They do all sorts of things. You take it to Goodwill, Salvation Army, get a receipt from them. So
okay,
when you file
taxes, yeah, thank you. I want to acknowledge Dr. Ogoji. Dr. Ogoji, you are welcome. And if you have a question for our tax expert, Reverend Solange, you know, the air is yours. Dr. Ogoji, your video is not on and your audio just went mute. So you can jump in whenever you're ready. Sister Sylvia.
Yeah, Reverend, regarding the taxable 501c3 monies, what about money that is donated outside of the country as a, how you call it, a 501c3? How is that treated if it goes through your, let's say a company here in the United States gives you, let's say $10,000, and they say, I want you to send this to your parish or to your orphanage in whatever Timbuktu country. How is that money re-taxed before we send it out through our bank accounts, or how does that work?
Now, most of the time, and as I said, this would not be one size, so I don't want people to misunderstand it, all different. First of all, for you to be able to send money overseas to charity and get tax deduction, you must have a 501c3 company registered with Internal Revenue Service. And during registration, you're going to complete its, we all know what it takes to get a 501c3. You're going to state there the type of charity organization that you are.
Yeah.
You do foreign donations, or is it local? Is it within the country? If you do foreign donations, you support orphanage overseas and all that. Good, then there's a room for you to deduct that when you're filing your income tax. And remember, charitable organizations to an extent do not pay taxes. At the end of the year, you file a Form 990. You can do a 990 easy or a 990. And there it gives you the opportunity and makes provision for you to deduct everything that you have been sending overseas as deductions. So whatever you have left over, I call it a leftover, that's not the right word. It's a surplus of what the charity organization has received, grants, as income, donations, and what they've spent. That just stays in the charitable organization's account.
Okay.
Because it's not taxable.
Okay, great.
Okay, Sister Sylvia has questions for you, and then Dr. Ogoji, you can go next after Sister Sylvia. Welcome, you're driving and you're looking good with your nice hat as usual.
Hey, Doc.
Brother Felix, you are muted, so you can go after Dr. Ogoji.
All right. Yes, I wanted to find out about this. You touched a little bit on it as you were talking, but then you distracted yourself and you dumped it. But I still would like to bring you back to that head of household.
Okay.
Now, what does in layman's term, in my language that I can understand, when you're talking about head of household, what exactly do we mean? Because you have a husband and you have a wife. If the wife is making $80,000 and the husband is making $40,000, does the wife file as head of household, or does the man still file as head of household because he's the man of the house? How does that work?
Okay, this head of household.
Your video is off. Your video.
I'm mute?
No, your video.
Your video is off. Beautiful, Eva.
Go ahead, but your video, now we can see you. Go ahead.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can see you.
Head of household has been an area where it's really audited by IRS. Let me say that, and I know I'm on Facebook or whatever, but that's the truth.
We're not worried about that.
If you misclassify yourself as head of household, the IRS will ask you for evidence. We have what we call, what's the right word for it? Due diligent notes. As a tax accountant, when you're preparing taxes, you have to complete your due diligence for every client. You ask the client the necessary questions. Are you a citizen? Did you live here for 6 months? If you're claiming someone as head of household, they want to know, do you qualify to claim that person as head of household? Head of household does not mean you're making more money than your husband.
Okay, what does it mean?
Let me tell you. Head of household means you are single. You cannot be married and be head of household. Once you're married, you're filing joint, or married filing separate.
Okay.
Those are the only two categories for people that are married.
Wait. Can you repeat yourself, please? I think I missed
it. As a married person, you can only file married filing joint or married filing separate. You cannot file as head of household. Head of household is when you are single, you have dependent children or dependent family living with you, and they've lived with you for over 6 months. It could be your mom, dad, your kids, your nieces and nephews, not your cousins. Yep. The word cousin, it's not there in the Internal Revenue. You do not claim your cousins. You claim your nieces, your nephews, your children, your mom and your dad, your brother and your sister.
No,
then your head of household.
No,
you cannot claim, pardon, no, not cousins. You cannot claim head of household for someone that is making more money than you.
Gotcha.
Even if that person is living under your roof. So to be head of household, you're single with dependents.
That's good to know.
Qualified. They have to be qualified. There's a qualification to be head of household and for your dependents to qualify as your dependents.
Excellent. Awesome. Dr. Ogoji.
Thank you for that clarification.
Africa Online for Africa, by Africa. I'm learning a lot. This is awesome. Dr. Ogoji.
Yeah, I have a question for the speaker. You own a business, and your business donate a lot of money to charity. Does a business have to file for 501c to claim that on tax? How does that work?
No, you do not file 501c. It's a tax exempt status for non-profit organizations. If you're a non-profit organization and you want government to recognize you as that, you have to file from 501c to get that recognition as a tax exempt organization. If you want to deduct monies or goods and services that you have donated, you do that on your tax return. That does not mean you're a charitable organization. I don't know if that answers your question.
Sure.
Brother Felix.
I know some of us deduct so much, some of us give away so much that we sometimes
I decided to take $2,000 from that business.
I'm not hearing you.
And pay
Dr. Ogoji, your audio.
Yeah, I'm not really getting.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, your audio is bad.
Hello?
Your audio is bad.
I can.
Okay, I will call back. I'll talk about when I get home, okay? Somebody can ask when I get home. Let's go ahead.
Okay, Brother Felix, you're up now.
I'm right here.
Okay, do you have any comments or questions or?
I'm thinking. Give me a minute, please.
Okay.
Sure.
While he's thinking, I have a question. By the way, Reverend Solange, we're learning a lot, me personally.
Me too.
Yeah, I have a question because I'm involved with a lot of charities. Okay. There are some charities have these tax exempt forms where there are things that you can purchase and not pay taxes. I want you to touch on that. Which things can you claim tax exempt on and which things can you not? And then secondly, the IRS allows you for some nonprofit organizations to file an exempt to the form 990. And I think it changes from state to state. So if you can address those two, that would be awesome.
Okay, the first question was
the tax exempt form.
What is tax exempt? Tax exempt purchases.
Exactly, that's it. There you go. See, I'm not an accountant. Yes, tax exempt purchases.
Okay. When you buy something, it depends. Why are you buying tax exempt? If you are a non-profit organization, you apply to your individual state for a use and sales tax exempt certification. Your state will give you that sales and use tax certification. So when you go to buy something, maybe even from Sam's Wholesale or Best Buy or wherever you're going to buy, I'm not talking about grocery, you can present them with that certification. They will register you. So whenever you buy something for that organization, they're not going to charge you tax.
Wait, let me just get this. Let me get this clear. In Texas, since I live in Texas, is the blue and pink form, sales and resale tax certificate. But what about the white form that is just tax exempt certificate?
That tax exempt certificate usually is given to you by whoever you're going to buy something from.
Okay, so can you explain the difference between both? So you say a non-profit organization, because I thought the blue and pink form, the sales tax form, is for wholesalers that want to buy stuff and resell it. The sales and resale tax.
That's different.
Yeah, so that doesn't help with non-profit. Is the tax exempt form?
Is the tax exempt form, the white form, that when you have that certification from the state that you're a non-profit organization, when you go to say Sam's Wholesale or to, I'm quoting companies that I know I've worked with, Best Buy or wherever, and you present that form, you're going to complete their form as well. They're going to put that on file. So when you go there, let me give you an example of a friend that has a company. I like examples. She has this non-profit foundation, is a foundation, and she helps like the homeless when they're about to rehabilitate back into the community. Sometimes she donates tiles, like floor tiles, to be able to put in their homes and, you know, decorate their homes. She has a tax exempt certificate. So she went to Floor and Deco. We have about some branches here in Houston, Texas. And she told them that she's a nonprofit organization. She's a ministry. She wants to buy tiles for so reason. So they asked her, could we see your nonprofit status? They actually went online to the Secretary of State to make sure her company is a 501c company. Then they gave her the white form to complete. Because when you're classified as such, the state gives you a tax exempt number. So now Floor Deco now completes this form with her tax exempt number. So whenever she goes to Floor Decos, she buys stuff tax free. So those are tax free purchases.
Okay, so why Brother Felix is still thinking?
Then the wholesale one you're talking about, if that you buy things from wholesalers, they do not charge you tax. That is different. So now when you sell those things, you make profit. Then every quarter, you pay sales tax to your state, to the Comptroller of Public Accounts, like in Texas. So every quarter, every month, you pay sales tax to the Comptroller of Public Accounts, because you as a wholesaler, you bought those things tax-free. But when you sold them, you did charge your consumer sales tax.
Okay, one last question, then I'll hand over to either Sister Sylvia or Brother Felix.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If I have a babysitter, is she supposed to have a Social Security number?
Yes, that's the law now that we've had so many cases about employing household help that are illegal. Not a bit undocumented. I don't like to use the word illegal. Undocumented household employees. There's a form you fill 1040H, H for household employee. You have to declare their tax. You have to pay taxes for your household babysitter. They require you to hire someone that is documented and have Social Security. Because if they don't, people come to me all the time that, you know what, Ms. Solange, I paid $8,000 for my nanny. She lives in with me, and I want to claim that. I asked them, does she have a Social Security number? They said, no. I said, you cannot claim it on your time. You cannot.
Thank you so much.
Very good question. Very, very good, because it's very relevant in our community.
Yeah.
Dr. Ogoji, I think we'll be able to hear you now. We have 7 minutes at the top of the hour. Dr. Ogoji, the air is yours. Dr. Ogoji, can you hear us?
I think we lost him.
No, I can see him. He just left. He just stepped out of his car. Okay, while we're waiting for him, Sister Sylvia, do you have any questions? We have 7 minutes to the top of the hour.
Question, no, but I'd just like to say that I learned as tax expert here, your information is invaluable. It's absolutely phenomenal that you answer the way you answer. Almost every question that you have been asked, you have answered truthfully and to the best of your knowledge. And I'm hoping that our viewers or those people that are listening, or whether they listen now or listen later, also will be edified by the knowledge base that you have, because there's some things that I just learned from you that I didn't know. We always know the wrong first before we are corrected to know the right.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased and grateful that you have the 20-something years behind you and you're able to disseminate this
I
information.
think I should be better now. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can hear you.
Hey, Doug, how are you?
Okay, good. Fine. So my question is, okay, can a business owner use money to provide charity and claim that as expense of business without having a 501c?
Good question.
Yeah, sure. If you're a business owner and you donate money, there's provision for you to claim that as charitable deductions. Okay. You don't have to you only own a 501c if you're a charitable organization yourself. But if you're not and you're just a business owner, monies that you donate to charities are tax deductible.
Okay.
So that goes back to Reverend Pam's question. What's the cap though for charity?
60% adjusted gross income.
So
that's the cap. You don't even want to stretch it that far, unless, and I will insist, if you have documentations to prove that you actually gave away 60% to charity, fine, go ahead and do it. But if you want to make reasonable estimates, because some receipts are faded, you cannot find some, and I know truthfully you did donate to that organization, you have to really be careful. Or you can go back to that organization and ask them for a written letter as proof.
So what about church when we just put cash in church? What would be the cap then?
Those questions come up all the time. People come to me all the time, say, you know what, I've been paying my tithes offering and I give cash. And I tell them, if you can, please give checks. Or if you do give cash, write something. If you really want to deduct it, discuss it with whoever is the treasurer of your church, so they can always give you something. All churches, most churches, not all, they have a receipt book. They can give you a receipt for that money because you don't have checkbook, because you want to be accountable. You don't just want to throw figures out there. Oh, I gave $3,000 to my church. What's the proof? So you must find a way. The burden is on you, the taxpayer. The burden is on you to find a way to document your giving, your donations.
Okay, can I just say something real quick for Dr. Ogoji and Brother Felix? When you make those donations, the beneficiary should give you a tax receipt that you can use for your taxes. I know in our ministry, we issue those things at the end of the year, actually by January 31st. Give them out, but sometimes we'll give them out first week of January, so you can use that because it's tax receipt from the ministry. Even your church, if you put cash, I don't know if you're putting in an envelope and filling it out. In my ministry, you fill out your name, and the amount, whether it's cash or check or credit card. At the end of the year, you get a tax receipt from the ministry. So it doesn't matter if you're giving cash to the church or checks or credit card. Just make sure you speak with the church accountant to send you those receipts. I have the privilege of handling the finances of the ministry. I've done that for more than a decade. So I know about this aspect of it. Some people don't ask for it, but some people do.
Thank you, Reverend Pam. I was going to say that most churches have envelopes. You can write your name and write the total amount of money you're donating, and also keep that record for yourself. And at the end of the year, most of the ministries out there, they will give you that letter stating how much you have donated to the ministry during the year. And that letter is good enough for you to take to your accountant to get that amount deducted from your taxes, from your income.
One last question. We're coming to the top of the hour. I think we have 2 minutes. Reverend Pam, I'm watching the time. With regard to claiming all these deductions, let's say I filed my taxes this year, and somehow, somewhere, I can find some receipts, invoices, let's say maybe totaling up $10,000, $15,000, because I don't remember where I put them at. Now, my tax season comes, I file my taxes less that $15,000 that I couldn't find the receipts. But then the following year, or maybe 2 years later, I find them in my store. What do I do?
Okay, that's very simple. You file what we call it Form 1040X. That's an amendment. You file an amendment because you found those receipts. You have proof to show that you actually incurred this expenditure. So you file an amendment claiming that expenditure with proof to the Internal Revenue. And people have done that and they got a refund back. Because
Wow.
here's a finding. The dates on that receipts are important. The date has to be the date of the tax year for which you are claiming that amendment. So you can file a 1040X.
Okay,
Wow.
so that time doesn't really matter. Is there a statute as to how far back you can go on?
It used to be about 5 years, but it's 3 years.
3 years now. So within the 3-year time, you can file that
Yes.
Amendment.
After that, you lose the money. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We're coming to the top of the hour, and right now I'll have Reverend Pam and Fadu take over for a second to give us some updates.
Thank you so much, Sister Sylvia. Ni Asong owes you. He needs to take you to dinner. You guys live like 3 hours away because last minute you just took over for him and you're doing a phenomenal job.
Well, thank you.
You are. So but we miss him anyway. He's tied up. He's not able to dial in today. His editor is going to be on there. And Reverend Solange, I am so enlightened and educated, and I have some more. We still have 30 minutes to go, so I'll be asking some more questions, and I hope our other listeners will be asking questions. I am sure people who are not able to zoom in either from the continent, they can text us. Again, these particular questions are relevant to our people in the US, because a lot of our people in our community, we don't know much about taxes,
Yes.
and this is very important to know. Like the question Mr. Norma asked about the household help, I didn't know that. There's several things that I did not, even about a head of household. I did not know that because I used to always file as head of household, but then I did not, I was within the law, not knowing that I was doing the right thing because, I qualified to file as a head of household. And I'm believing God that I'll get married to a very wealthy person, so I don't need to file as a head of household.
When you do that, then you file married filing joint. Okay?
No, everything will be joint. So I'm claiming that in Jesus' name. But anyway, we're at the top of the hour, and I'm very excited about this topic. This is a topic that we've never dealt with before. That topic just dropped today like that when I was coming back from church. And so we're going to be talking about living within your means and living beyond your means. We know a lot of our people, not just our people, but in our community, there's a lot of competition. People, I'm not going to use the Joneses because we don't have that name in our community. But you see somebody driving a Benz, you two want to go get one. You see them living in a 5-bedroom in a particular neighborhood. You want to go move into that neighborhood. It's like you're running a race with somebody who's not running a race with you. We're going to be talking about living within your means and living beyond your means or covetousness. So that's what we're going to be tackling this starting tomorrow. And I'm sure a lot of our people will weigh in, and hopefully, especially this Christmas time, this season, where some people feel like they have to have a party or they need to buy a new outfit or New Year's Eve party or whatever, go into your closet. Go into your closet. I can shop in my closet for the next 4 years. My only challenge has been the weight, but it's coming off. So once I get back down, I would.
I'm following you.
No, yeah,
I'm following you.
I don't even need to shop. So we want to encourage our brothers and sisters, especially on the continent. You don't have to be like the other person. You need to live within your means. Like we used to say growing up, cut your coat according to your size. Isn't that what we used to say? Cut your coat.
Cut your coat according to your size.
Cut your coat according to your size. And I've heard another one. I said, cut your clothes according to your fabric or something. I don't know. But that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm so excited about that. And now that it's tax season, we're talking about this donations thing. For those of you listening out there, Africa Online Media Corporation is a 501c non-profit organization. So I will encourage you to make donations. Our website needs to come back up. We are revamping it. So make your donations. You can inbox us on Facebook, and we'll tell you how to make the donation so we can get our website back up and also complete some of our projects. Your donations will be 100% tax deductible. We'll give you a tax receipt. We also have a book called Africa's Brain Bank, which is a compilation of the editorials by our chief executive editor, Mr. Asonglefac Nkemleke, whom I always refer to as a journalistic icon. They don't come any better than him, both on the continent and in the diaspora. He is amazing. You'll be surprised. Those editorials you hear him read on here, those are things that he writes last minute. Those are not things that he writes after fasting and prayers. A lot of the times he writes them coming from away keeping or being at some Bangwa event or whatever. So he's gifted. He's really anointed. So I'm happy we're able to put that book together. You know, we want our people to purchase it. It's only $19.99. It's on Amazon. Not 1 cent of it is going into anybody's pocket. 100% of the proceeds is going for our project. I think we just lost Dr. Goji, and I know he's going to dial back in. But I'm going to hand over to Sister Sylvia. We have 26 minutes.
Yes, and thank you so much for all those updates. And everybody that's online, thank you so much for your information and for being such great participants. But before we go ahead, since we have our tax expert online, I think it's just fair that I ask her to give us her contact information so that those that are listening and those that want to write down and get in touch with her, I believe after this goes viral, she may get some new clients. So I'm believing that with all my heart, all my heart.
Yes.
So, can you, Reverend, go ahead and are you on mute?
No, I'm not on mute.
Okay, good.
Am I?
Can
Maybe I am,
ahead?
but I don't even know it.
All right. Can you please give us your full name again? I'm sorry to have to do this to you slowly. Spell it for us, and then your phone number, and if you have an email as well, so that those people that are listening to you and may be shy to call in and don't want their voices to be heard, because some of us are afraid of being deemed as ignorant because you asked a question online. But I don't think there's any.
There's no.
Every question is intelligent.
Very.
So some of them are shy. They're not as loudmouth as me, so they may not call in. So please, for the benefit of those that have the direct opposite, kindly give us the full name, your number, and your email address, or if you have a website, please.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Solange Gabis. Solange, Solange. I always say that's one of the most common names in Cameroon, where I come from. Solange, the last name is Gabice, Gabice. My number is 713-494-7070. My office is on Bel Air by Highway 6 here in Houston, Texas. And my email is trinitytax@yahoo.com. Trinity, like the Holy Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
And
can you repeat your phone number again, please? You said it too fast.
Okay, my phone number is 713-494-7070. The name of my accounting firm is Trinity Accounting and Tax Services. Hence my email.
Tax shop, right? Tax shop.
Yeah, I go at the trade name Tax Shop. Okay. And we have different offices around Houston, like a mini franchise. But the mother company is Trinity Accounting and Tax Services. And the email is trinitytax@yahoo.com.
Trinity Tax, one word?
One word, Trinity
one word.
Tax.
Okay. So Trinity Tax, yahoo.com. Viewers, you've heard the esteemed Reverend and of course our tax specialist. She says if you want to go and write to her, go to trinitytax@yahoo.com, trinitytax.com. Thank you very much for that information. For those of you who didn't call in, you're missing out, but if you still have time, we still have another half hour going. If you have questions, you have something you want to share with us, some contributions towards the tax world, please feel free to call in. This is Africa Brain Bank online.
No, Africa Online. Africa Online.
Online. Oh my God. See, now I'm going the wrong way. Africa Online.
Too many charities. Africa's Brain Bank is the organization.
Okay.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
The topic of taxation is really, really broad. It's a lot. It's not even something we can talk about within an hour or two. Because just as we're discussing, there are people out there that have different aspects of tax problems, tax challenges. So it's, I have a tax school that I started about 4 years ago due to popular demand. I started teaching taxes to people. I do teach from September through December towards the tax season. And what we do is we teach people that want to be able to do taxes for themselves by themselves, or want to just do it to help others. We've actually had students that now operate their own little tax kiosks. They're still linked to our company anywhere. So we act as a support system for these individual tax preparers out there. And this is a topic that can be revisited in January. The reason I say that is because the government right now, the new software for the upcoming tax year has not been released yet, because they're still going through making some updates, changing one thing or the other. And usually those changes do not show up till maybe mid-January or end of January, and even makes the taxpayer even confused.
Okay.
So it's a topic that can be revisited maybe around January.
February. No, we're gonna do it. Sister Sylvia, take note. We're gonna do it the first week of February.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
The
taxes are due in April, right? It's April 15th.
April 15th, yeah.
Yeah,
if it falls during the week. If it falls during the weekend, sometimes they stretch it to April 17th. But not all taxes, though. Corporate taxes are due March 15th.
Oh, okay.
Individual taxes are due April.
Got you.
And franchise taxes are due May 15th. So you have these 3 dates that people have to remember.
Yes. Excellent. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for that freebie. Felix, are you still online?
Yeah, he is, but his phone is muted. Okay, Brother Felix.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Yeah, are you good? Do you have anything else to ask, any contributions towards the current discussion?
I'm just listening. I'm watching football also.
This is amazing for a man to multitask.
Is that
for a man to multitask? This is amazing.
As men and their football.
I know. What about Doc? Doc, are you watching football too?
No, we lost him. I think he's gonna dial back in. I think it was.
Okay. We lost Doc. All right. So, viewers, you heard that we have different filing times for whether it's corporate, whether it's personal, and so forth. Businesses. Don't take it for granted, like I was, that everything is due April 15th. So if you're not sure about when your taxes are due as an individual, as a corporation, or so and so forth, as a charitable organization, please contact your tax preparer so that you're on time and you're not penalized for not filing on time. Now, with all that said and done, my learned taxpayer, if somebody has to want to take go to school and study taxes, what is your advice?
It depends what level you want to achieve. Do you want to be a tax accountant? Do you want to be a certified accountant like myself? What do you want to do? There's so many tax preparation schools. Like I said, I just started doing one 4 years ago. And that's like a 3-month crash course that will just teach you the basic of tax preparation and individual tax preparation most of the time. And that will not take you too far, but it will help you to a large extent to do what maybe you want to do. But if you really want to establish yourself, and because the competition is out there, then maybe you have to actually go get a degree in accounting and specialize in taxes. There's some certifications actually out there. There are plenty. As I say, it depends on what level you want to achieve.
Excellent.
Question.
Yes.
Yeah, can you share with us some of the most common mistakes that taxpayers do when they file their taxes, please?
Number one that I see all the time, they omit one W-2, sometimes on purpose, because they feel that by adding all their W-2s, they end up owing. That's, how do they call it? It's a mistake, but they do it a lot. And sometimes they put all these expenses that they don't have documentations to prove. So those are some of the mistakes that I see. And there's a whole list. If you have any in mind, just ask me and I can throw some more light on that. But I know the omission of their W-2 is very common, or a 1099. And overestimation of their expenses could lead them to being audited. And you want to avoid that. As a good tax accountant, what we strive as is to give you, if you're due a refund, get you the legally maximum refund. And I use the word legally, I emphasize on that. So you cannot overestimate your expenses and trying to say, oh, I can put this and I think it's okay. No, it's not okay, because the internal revenue, they have a yardstick. They have what they're looking at. And sometimes auditing is just random selection and you get audited.
So with a person who doesn't work, somebody is maybe 55, and they can't find the job. They can't work. I mean, the jobs are just not there. Every job you go for, they'll tell you're too old, you're overexperienced, you're too this, and you don't have an income coming in at all from anywhere or anything like that. I mean, are you still expected to file taxes?
Do you claim Social Security?
If you're not eligible, Social Security starts at 62 and above 65.
Okay.
So they only give you that, I believe, if there's disability, then you can get disability. But on Social Security, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, but I know that one of my brothers-in-law told me you have to be 62 to 65 to claim it. So if you don't have any of those, like I'm saying, just let's assume zero income. You're living with maybe your daughter, you're living maybe with your son, with your sister, with your uncle, whoever, your cousin, and you don't have a single income coming in.
No income coming in. No, you don't have anything to file on. You file income tax, which means you must have made income of some sort, anything over $400. You know, so if you haven't made anything over $400, you don't have any income. But once you have income, even Social Security, the reason why people still file, even when they're collecting social, is because maybe during the year you had some income coming in that you did not realize was taxable. When you add all that together, maybe you've exceeded the threshold of your Social Security being exempt, because Social Security is not taxable. But if you had extra income during the year, you may have exceeded that threshold, and that extra becomes taxable. So,
Okay. One more question, and I'll flow over to the other side. How can a woman who has 2 kids with a retired husband or a retired man, and their kids are receiving SSI, are they supposed to put this on their taxes, the money that they're receiving for the children via SSI?
Yeah, you declare all your income. It's just that most tax software and tax accountant, they're exempt, but they want you to declare everything. And then the government, like your Social Security, some people say you don't have to file. I still advise my clients just file it. Because sometimes by the time they're filing, I realize that they got SSI, they got all those things. Because there's a column there, like when you fill in your dependents. Because, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say you have 2 kids. They're on SSI. You're going to claim maybe earned income credit on them. Or maybe one of the kids is actually older. But because they're on that SSI, they are considered disabled. So they are considered as children. So they still qualify for earned income credit. So you see why it's good to put all these things together and declare them. And then,
now, what if one of the parents, because the question, I got a text message from one of our people here, right here on my phone. I'm reading it actually, as she wrote it to me. She herself works. She herself is still employed. She's younger than the husband. The husband, I think, is 62, 65. And of course, he has retired, and now they have 2 kids below the age of 10, both of them. Yeah, so they're not married legally, so to speak, but they've been living together like common law, so to speak, maybe now 10 or a little bit over 10 years. So I guess you guys, we can consider them man and wife.
Yeah.
So the SSI that the kids are receiving, you're saying, is still taxable, even though the mother is still working.
Because the mother is working, it's not taxable. The SSI is not taxable. When she's filing her 1040, she's going to include those kids as her dependent. And that's the question they're going to ask, are these kids disabled? You say yes, or whatever. Are they collecting SSI? You say yes. Then they'll ask you, what are the reasons? Why are they collecting SSI? So you have to state all those things on your 1040 form. Those are some of the omissions that taxpayers will do, and the IRS will then write to them asking more questions about their dependent, because maybe they saw it on their system that the kids were on SSI and all that, you see.
Yeah, but won't that reflect already on the father, who is the one that is the recipient of the SSI? I mean, when they file the taxes, they'll file the taxes, I believe, together. I'm assuming. I mean, she didn't say whether
they'll file like joint, right?
Yeah, joint.
They're filing married, filing joint, because the fact that they don't have a legal, the common law wife, so they're going to file married, filing joint. They're going to put the wife's income. They're going to put the SSI. So they're going to factor all that in, and most likely they'll end up not paying tax. They'll get a refund. because of the children.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're not going to be liable. Yeah. Because I have. Okay. I just want to say, those kids are.
Yes. Go ahead, Felix.
No,
during Obamacare per se, every taxpayer was supposed to have medical insurance. If you did not, you're going to get a penalty for not having medical insurance when you file. With the new administration now, I think they've changed that. Can you shed some light on that? If there's a penalty if you don't have medical insurance when you do your taxes?
Okay, for the past how many years since Obamacare came out, if you do not have medical insurance, you are going to get penalized. Some families pay up to $2,993, $692 per person. Yeah, you're going to get penalized. But starting next year, rumor has it that the penalty, they're not going to penalize anyone anymore for not having medical insurance. But as of last year, the penalty was still in existence. If you don't have health insurance, you have to either have health insurance through your place of work or your private insurance or whatever, but you must have health insurance.
Okay, Sister
So
Sylvia,
the update is the requirement now. Go doing it in April.
We are hoping that starting this year started, if you didn't have medical insurance, you're not going to get penalized for that. We are hoping.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, I want to acknowledge Sister Comfort. Sister Comfort, you're welcome on the show. We have 10 minutes, so we're going to give you the airways. If you have any questions for our tax expert, any tax questions, Sister Sylvia is our anchor. She co-anchors with Nia Song. And that's Sister Comfort. That's one of our pioneer members. You've not been seeing her because of her schedule. So we have 10 minutes if you have a question for Reverend Solange. She's our tax expert.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Rev. I'm very grateful and thankful to be here tonight. It has been a while. As you said, it's my schedule. God being willing, I will continue to join with you all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. As for the tax, I just came in and I learned that because I know we're being penalized if you don't have any health insurance. And I think you are assuring us that no, you are not. You are saying that maybe this year will not be penalized.
Yes.
For not having health insurance. Then I would like to ask concerning because we've been hearing that children credit has been reduced. I don't know how far that is true, but if you can throw light into that, I think it will be helpful.
Good question.
It depends on what child credit. Are we talking of the CTC? Are we talking of the EIC? Which aspect of child tax credit? Last year, child tax credit was actually increased to $2,000 per child.
Nice.
Opposed to $1,000 that we've always had in the previous years. So it depends. You know, even the earned income credit went up a little bit. So we've not gotten, that's why maybe before you came on, I said the software is still going through a lot of updates. And we don't know what's going to go up or what's going to come down. But the child tax credit itself actually went up last year. Mm-hmm. It actually doubled to $2,000 per child.
So people should have more children.
No, 16 and below. The children have to be 16 and below.
Yeah, so keep giving birth, please. But that's in the diaspora, keep producing those children.
Reverend Sam, you're not serious.
Yes.
I'm very serious. Brother Felix, I need some more nieces and nephews. Please.
So 16 and below. And for earned income credit.
I have another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, another question is I learned that those with homes, the only way you can get credit is through your interest on the property that the interest you paid within that year. Mm-hmm. And that's where they can credit you for a home. So I want to know how true that is. And also to ask that how, as homeowners, how can we be more credited? Because I learned that you can buy your interest rate, or you can buy your insurance and put it into your monthly mortgage. That way, at the end, you can have some credit. Please, can you throw some light?
Okay, that is what we call it. Those are Schedule A deductions, itemized.
Okay,
that's when you want to itemize your expenses as an individual taxpayer. Okay, you can take interest, mortgage interest.
Yes.
Tax deductible. You can deduct that. Property taxes.
Yes.
Which is usually in your escrow.
Yes.
You pay it every month with your monthly mortgage.
Yes.
Property taxes has been capped to $10,000. If you live in a neighborhood where the taxes are so high, I don't care if you pay $15,000 a year on property tax, like where I live in Houston, Texas, the taxes are so high because of the school. I live in a very high tax school area. So every year my property tax is maybe $12,000. But as of last year, I can only deduct $10,000. It's capped. This includes even your state tax. Everything taxed on your Schedule A is capped to $10,000. So that's been a disadvantage to many taxpayers. That started last year. But you can still deduct your mortgage interest. And for your homeowner's insurance, that is not tax deductible. At first, we had what we call PMI, private mortgage insurance, which, let's say you do not put up to 20% or 30% down payment on your property, you take out an insurance, and every year that is tax deductible, but they stopped that last year. A lot of itemized deductions were cut off last year. I mean, like really cut off. So you cannot take your homeowner's insurance as deduction. You cannot take your private mortgage insurance again as deduction. You used to be able to do that, but not anymore.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. We're coming to the close of our discussion today. And I just wanted to give our esteemed guest one last word, please, about taxes. And Felix, if you want to say one closing remark as well, Reverend Pam, and any guest that's online. Please go ahead, ma'am.
If you have somebody doing your taxes and they guarantee you that you're going to make a lot of money, run away from them, please.
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Felix.
Oh my God!
I just love this guy.
Any tax accountant that tells you that, oh, come here, I'm going to make you get all this money, they may be able to do that, but get ready, because the Internal Revenue Service may come after you.
Oh,
yes. Yes. Reverend Pam, would you have anything that you would like to?
Oh my God, Brother Felix, you are such a comedian. You know, we are definitely going to be doing a sequel in February as per our guest request. You know, but because of the text that I need some post on the forum, I'm going to share this show on the WhatsApp forum, because there are people that were going to dial in, but they probably thought the show did not take place. There was just the editorial that was not going to take place. So we're going to be sharing this on the forum, and Daughter of Zion, you'll get to hear the entire show. I mean, Reverend Solange is a tax expert. I know that because for many years I've benefited from that. So there's a lot more that we have to discuss. There are even things that we did not get to, you know, as far as taxes, especially in this country. But I want to thank her, especially for time on behalf of Africa Online Media Corporation. You have shed light both on the forum and on the air. And again, I'll end here because she'll give her email again, and we're going to be doing a sequel. Thank you so much, Sister Sylvia.
Yeah, now, the guests, please give us some closing remarks.
That's comfort. Yeah. Just closing one. Your closing statement. I know you just got on. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful and thankful to meet such an expert, because I think she really helped to throw light into doing taxes, and I think I will take another step to do better after listening to all what she has said for the next year, so that I will get more money back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And let
be careful not to go. Don't go to someone that will promise you all this more money.
Oh no!
Okay.
Yeah.
It has to be legal.
Thank you so much for your remarks. And To our esteemed expert, can she please give us some closing remarks? I got 2 minutes to close up.
Oh,
yes.
me?
Yes,
okay. Well, thank you for having me on the show. It's very interesting because I know tax, when I chose to specialize in this area, it was like, why do you need all this headache? People asking all these complicated questions, but someone that always loves a challenge. And I thank God by his grace that I've been doing this for all these years. And I have a lot of satisfied customers, and I hope to render my services to anyone that is out there that may need help.
Great.
And I know African Online is a charitable organization, hence I'm offering my services free.
I don't have to file our taxes anymore. Thank you.
Yes, to God be the glory. I told you in the beginning, I felt very blessed to have two women of God with me on this forum. Of course, the esteemed doctors, Brother Felix online. And on that note, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on. And again, like you said, February, we'll do an encore so that we'll refresh the minds of people. We may ask the same questions or maybe have more different questions to ask you at our next encounter with you, which will be, I think, beginning of February. To our esteemed guests that have come online today, and of course, none other but our beautiful Reverend Pam Noon. Girl, you rock. You rock.
Praise Jesus.
So
So do
this
you.
will not happen.
I am so excited. I don't have to file taxes for Africa Online anymore. Our guest is going to be taking that over.
Amen.
Yes.
Blessings.
Until the next time, Sylvia Litana Robertson signing off. Thank you very much. God bless us all.
Thank you very much.
God bless everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody.